Hello everyone. So, oh shit. Hold up. Yeah. I forgot that again. That real quick. Over here to twitter.com. Apply to this. Forgot. Pick again. Perfect time for it. While the, oh, I guess you aren't hearing the sirens unless I talk. That's crazy. So loud in here. Where's my Moobot at? Right on. Alright, so this is what we're going to be trying to do. So this should be on a second hill. So there's going to be a hill up here, second hill right here. It leads down to kind of like the main plateau. It's going to taper off into water. Over here, eventually, it's going to be water. I think we should be good with it being kind of like just a plain like this. That I think is going to be fine, because essentially what I'm going to be doing is trying to block off this left view with a building. It's going to be a house or a shop or something like that right here. There'll be more houses here. You have a hill behind you. And then down this way is kind of what I'm leaning towards. So like maybe it makes more sense to try to skew things a little bit more towards the right like that. I do want a little bit of a view there. And down there is where the dock's going to be. So because I'm using Unity 2018, and on top of that I'm using 2018.2, which was a huge pain in the ass. Caused a lot of the busy work for me was upgrading just because of them. I don't know if it's I think it's mandatory. I think it might have been mandatory on one of the other 2017 versions, or yeah, one of the last 2018 version rather, to upgrade your Text Mesh Pro into their new system for that sort of thing. So I had to basically manually retype a lot of stuff, and that's why there hasn't been a build up to this point this week. So after this, there should be a build. It'll just be a terrain edition. After the stream, I'll make that build and push it to the itch.io page, which you can go down below. It's gonna be kind of weird to try to get more houses than the one I have. I'm gonna try retexturing it and coloring it and maybe tilting it different ways to make it less noticeable. Because to be honest, in the demo, you're not really gonna see the front of the house ever, if at all. I mean, I guess you could, but it might be hard to discern. It looks pretty fucking Victorian, so putting a couple of these far away, a couple of them close up, different angles probably cover that pretty well. I feel like, I mean, all this stuff is modular. The interior and exterior are modular, so I can remove the interior for those, so it won't even be that many polygons. Yeah. So, I can do that. I don't know if I'll do that. I think I'll probably do that off stream, or maybe I'll have time to do it today. Depends on how long the terrain takes. I have this new shader here, which is built in 2018, is being able to do a layered shader. Let's see, what else was something interesting on here? Oh yeah, it had displacement, so you can do a height map, I think is what that's implying. So let me look at that. Yeah, lock with height map tiling. I don't think I'm gonna need to do that though. Did it just add this? Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. I didn't even see the material reference thing. Is that because of this? Let me get rid of that and see if that gets rid of it. No, actually, you can actually just have different materials for each one. So, resynchronize without UV. Interesting. So it seems like I can either have individual materials for each thing I'm blending together, or you know what actually is most likely? Oh, no, they still call them layer 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, and they're RGB. Alright, yeah, so we're kind of limited to 4 different textures, but that's fine. Might go ahead and find those now, just to get them into 3ds Max. Let's just do grass. Go. Alright, so this one is dirt, ground, sand. This is actually, what is this dirt one? This one looks weird. Oh, okay, I got you. That's like dried dirt. That might be useful. These are from Polybrush. And hey, it'll work. Alright, so let's throw them in the Explorer. I'm gonna paste this over here on my second monitor. Alright, they got... Oh, okay. Yeah, alright, so I got them over here on my second monitor. Let's get into 3ds Max. So the first thing I need is a terrain. I'm doing it in 3ds Max because the terrain editor in 2018 is a little garbage. Polybrush is also a little bit garbage in 2018. I think that last time I tried, you just couldn't paint on it, so I could still modify things, but I'd prefer to keep it more controlled than that, than just because the Polybrush thing lets you kind of just push and pull vertices, and I feel like that can get out of hand if you maybe you're selecting stuff or looking at it at a weird angle. But I'm a lot more comfortable in 3ds Max for that sort of thing. So I'll just make a plane. I'll make a box as well, real quick. Both huge. Oh, do I not have my unit set up? Okay. That might be an issue. Alright, so I'm gonna... Alright, yeah, I didn't even realize that. I've been working in this. That's right, so I was importing the building I have, and so it was getting to meters because of that, because those FBXs were in meters. And we're done in 3ds Max. Let's see if I can remember how to even find them. It's not in rendering. I think it's in customize. Unit setup. Put it in the metric. I don't know what the hell generic units means. I think that's the default. Alright, so this one is 3 meters by 2 meters. Alright, so I want this one to be 2 meters tall, like half a meter in length and width. Did a bad job there. So this is just gonna be my like person reference, about the size of a person, a little bit taller. But that's fine because you have pretty. Like it's good to have a little bit of a taller reference because you don't really have good spatial awareness in a game. So it's fine with it being 2 foot because that's about how much space you'll take up most of the time. It's a better way to measure things. And this thing should be 1,000. I think I was doing 500. Be half a kilometer. So many. Thing, where's Unity? There we go. Okay, so thing right here. Oh, that's questionable. Why is it? Oh, okay. So this thing right here. Is this actually just a plane? Why is it? Alright, well that's confusing. I think maybe I made a plane and brought it in. I didn't know I did that though. I thought I was just using one from Unity. But let's see. So what's a way that I can actually measure this, I guess? 500 on some axis. Not 5,000. Yeah, alright. So I'm doing half a kilometer. That'll be plenty. It'll allow me to do a lot more detailing as well. More easily. It's gonna be kind of weird using this new terrain shader. I've never worked with it like this. I've mainly done it with the Unity system, even though I know it's poorly optimized, but probably this shader is as well. But it's really easy to work with. You get a good start. And we did a lot of modification on the last demo we had. And it had one of the features that it had that we had done was one of the people on my team made a height-based blend. So this means that it's going to actually... Ooh, actually, never mind. This is not what I thought it was. Wait, maybe it is. Yeah. So that's probably the differential. So what it was is that like you have two things with normal maps, and you can measure the normals of one or the other, and there's kind of implicit height in normals, and you can kind of blend between the two. So if you have one thing that has taller normals, more or less, it's a weird way to phrase it, but taller normal maps, then it'll kind of blend between the two to where the taller one shows on top of the other, and it ends up having a much more natural blend on things like terrains, as opposed to it just being like a fall off linear value for those. Alright, so 500 seems good. I'm gonna actually, I'm not gonna do it to 1 meter each, so I'm actually gonna do it to half that, so 2 meters. And the reason for that is, first of all, it's gonna be a fuck ton of polygons regardless, but also I have tessellation. So there's tessellation in Unity built into the shader, so it's gonna make things a lot more smooth off that. I think there's a displace mesh. There should be a this is not what I'm looking for. There's something in here. I think it starts with a D. Displace. Okay, so not displace mesh. Regular displace. Let you use a texture to control it. So I think that this is overkill. We're gonna do a new one. Not gonna be this much resolution. So this resolution is what I'm gonna be doing my texture blending with. Channel RGB is gonna be a different texture. This is just going to be what I'm going to be doing for my height map, but it's not going to be done in Unity, it's going to be done in the modeling program. Alright. So for right now, go to black and white. We'll just see what this does. I haven't done this in a while, so I just want to test. I'm guessing myself here. Alright, so we got a height map. Put that in here. Alright, so it's loaded in there. Increase the strength by a lot. There we go. Alright, so the black values seem to be lowering it. Okay. So if we have a decay, that'll smooth it? Is that what that does? Okay, I don't know what decay does. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Okay, so that means that if we want it to kind of gradate from one side to the other. Let's see which way is forward. Alright, so that way's forward. I want it to go this way, so that means it should be darker here and lighter here, and sort of a gray in the middle. That going. Probably shouldn't be full tool also for this. Alright, so if that's forward. Ooh, that's one thing I should have checked. Alright, so let's see which way the displacement is actually doing from these UV coordinates. Yep, just like that. Alright. So you can see it goes like that. So it's not actually this way is forward. This way. Where's the freaking brush tool? Okay. Oh, actually, no, we should probably just go to Gray like this. So to get like a good like hill structure, I'm not really sure how you do that with this sort of like with directly doing the height map like this. Not really sure what that's gonna look like. So actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, so this is gonna be actual water level. That probably doesn't need to be much of the terrain because I want to keep the coastline. So it would let's have it just kind of barely go in there. Have like a little inlet. I don't even know how I clicked on that. Space there. To be honest, I should probably get my tablet going on this. I haven't used it in a while. We'll see if it's necessary. Yeah, another thing that I didn't think about is since I'm not actually doing this in engine at runtime, or not at runtime, but in the editor, using their terrain system, I can just kind of smooth things out in here actually. Don't really need to have it be that smooth. As long as it's like pretty good. So if I this, make it lighter. And just go along that. Don't really need to sample the black. Let's just blur it. See what average does. Okay, it's gonna average the whole thing. Okay. This is probably more what I'm looking for. Alright, let's get that going then. Or as the height map. And let's see if that automatically updates in 3ds Max. I don't know if it makes a copy or if it makes a reference. Let's see. Alright, it looks like it makes a copy. Apply it. There we go. Pretty good. One thing I forgot though is that so besides the coastline, we actually want another hill up here. Also, this should be a lot more gradual this way. Here to here, be kind of a linear, gradual change. So the back down to this, a lot easier to work with. This will be the hill we're actually living on right here. Kind of weird that it had that little hiccup on the corner there on the mesh. Just fill this in with white just to make sure. So this from there, what we'll do. I guess we'll just do another sample from this, so that being a little bit steep is fine. Bring it down a little bit more. Because we really just want something for the blur to be able to grab onto easily. I think if we go much lower, we're basically marking, or it's basically the same color. But one another thing is that I kind of want this one to go down into the one you're on, and kind of the same thing here. So there should kind of be this little tier here. Then I want this to kind of blend down a little bit more. So I'll probably do that with like a smudge. Smudge tool is somewhere around here. Smudge tool. Much smaller brush. Thing we're doing here. I don't really like the way that's looking. Let's undo all the smudge. A little smudge so we can tell where we want it when we're in the modeling thing. So if you're going to be here, probably make more sense actually. Let's go back one more for the way this one comes down to be over here. This one's coming down is going to be like that. Here to blur it. Not very easy to tell. Okay. Reference looking a lot nicer. It's looking a lot more like what I'm thinking. It's a better start. Kind of have a lot of hills. This needs to be a little bit lower. Still not totally sure what's going on there. Much better start. This will kind of just go off into the water. We'll have docks and stuff. I guess. Think about it. So like edit poly. I guess we should just go ahead and have this go further. Really fill out the ocean a little bit this way, so we can have something underneath it that might be helpful for the opacity of the shader, or make the shader or the water shader look better. So if you're a little dot right here, probably too extreme. Yeah, it's 100 meter. Probably want it more like something like 50 meters. That might even be too harsh still. I don't know how something like this can happen when you're using a texture reference. Ooh, what is up with that? Right, yeah. All these down. FPS, man. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't rotate like that, right? Because it should be trying to keep everything still on a grid with the displace, but it's just moving things up and down. Better to just move everything along the proper axis. I don't know if I'm gonna fix the other side because it doesn't really doesn't affect anything really. Another thing that is not so bad about having to work on the terrain this way, like having a new workflow, is that you're really only going to see it from inside the house. So if it's low res, kind of hard to notice. It's not totally right. As long as the scale feels about right, and that's all I'm really worried about. So I like the kind of subtle variation I'm getting here from just like the brush strokes fall off. That might be a little bit too, like that might be something you'd want to avoid if terrain you actually walk on, but since it's just for visuals, fine. Or density. Density might be too high, to be honest. So I don't even know if I can actually do this and have it still work. Let's go for more like a 125. Seems to be working. Yeah. Still extremely dense. Shouldn't really be that much noticeable of a difference. Oh, weird. That seemed like I fixed this side manually. So it could just be that the resolution was having issues. More the reason why there's little artifacts. Alright, so let's get this into Unity, see how it looks. Based on a square. Thinking about doing the UVs, but they should be fine by default. Shader. This in here. Let's see. You know what? I still need the actual splat. So let's do a test splat. What I set up here, much higher resolution. We'll just do straight up RGB. So, oop, still on blur. So let's just do a huge brush just to get a good test. What? First of all, I should be doing this on layers. Actually, multiple colors. Let's get only 3. Check because I feel like it should be 4, right? So it looks like it's only 3, and then I guess there's a base. Gotcha. So you put a main layer, and then you can put things on top of it. Okay. So how does that represent in the splat? Is that white or is that black? So I guess we'll try both. So if this is the base, well, yeah, we'll put both on there and we'll just see what it does with it, I guess. Start with black. Wait, I need another layer. White. White. I didn't go to a new layer. I'm gonna try the different material thing they have here to see how that goes, because I think it might be useful long term. Not totally sure what it. I'm still new to the shader, so I'm not totally sure what I'm even trying to do with it. Alright, so there we go. We got blend. We got 4 different layers. That's our mask. Going. So we'll name them what they're calling it. So it'd be base one. Just I think this might be useful as well for me to keep track of. All right, let's count these correctly. Keep track of what colors to do, since I'm actually going to be doing the splat map in Photoshop and not in the editor. We'll do grass. Okay, I don't have a non. Okay. We had a weird system with our terrain before, where the alpha actually stored. I think it was either the. I think it was the smoothness, not the metallic. Yeah, it was the smoothness. So that way we could have some surfaces that were kind of shiny that actually worked on the terrain. You can't really do with Unity's built-in system. So some of the textures look a little bit weird, but they should act totally normal. Alright, so if that's the base, turn that smoothness all the way down. Alright, there you go. So now we know what color is the base. Black is the base. So we don't need the white layer at all. Re-export. Gonna directly replace it in the actual folder. That just overwrites. Did not overwrite, or did I just automatically do it without thinking? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like this. I like this system so far. The splat works. I tested out the tessellation already. Tessellation worked fine. So let's just turn this and these all the way down, and we'll go ahead and just put them in. Interesting that they do it this way, as separate materials. That does make things a lot more flexible. Alright, and I can get rid of the other... Oh, wait, what is... I still have a terrain under it? I do. Okay. So let's get rid of that. Drop this down. This layer. Yeah. Okay. I like the way that I like this blend. I feel like this is good. Like the height. Maybe it should be easier to move the house. Good. I like the placement as well. I plan on blocking the vision this way. A couple of ways, so having more this way is more beneficial. Got a Discord. Someone join the Discord. Right on. First one. If you're still in chat, thanks for joining. Hopefully we'll be having more and more people join the Discord in the future. So if I actually tile it here, how does that work? Should be 500, right? I think it's 250. I think all my textures... Sorry, that does nothing. Good to know. That's the base. We should have been seeing it. So you tile it in here, I guess. So it just references the... Yeah, okay. I didn't do this, did I? Put it in there. If I remove this, I'm gonna get rid of those things. Didn't actually work. Oh, interesting. Okay. So let me try this then. I think maybe it's just to reference the settings. The point of the reference. I put dirt in there. Yeah. So it doesn't actually do it. So I can change what the layer's material is. I just can't directly change its any of these settings in this. It's curious what the purpose of it is then. Can't change the material settings. Let me just click synchronize. Oh, okay. You have to actually manually do it. It does work. Cool. Learned a couple of things there. I learned what the hell these synchronization buttons were for. That still doesn't work though. Try resynchronize. Okay. So you want to synchronize without UV mapping means that it ignores the tiling scale? Okay. So it's kind of what I was thinking before, where you can do it, you can kind of you can offload some of your editing to these materials, and that way, I guess it's useful if you do multiple. What am I trying to say? If you have multiple materials that you reuse, this can be a lot more helpful. Probably the situation I'm doing with dirt again. Dirty. With the normal map. I guess I need like variation, so if I find like sand, I know I had sand. Alpha with height. Using to call it normal, because that shouldn't actually be the normal, right? I didn't actually make the naming convention for our textures. I think either one of our artists did, the old project, or our tech artist did. Let's resync. That is some weirdness at certain angles. I assume that's just the normal map being weird at this scale. Hopefully it's not because of the stuff we did with the alpha there. And so both these need to go 50. I really feel like they have a weird smoothness. Maybe I should look at it in play mode. See how it looks. Probably a good idea in general. Little frame rate dips. So I mentioned this before, but the frame rate seems a lot worse on stream for a couple of reasons. I guess one main reason. One is that I'm streaming. That'll lower the quality. But the other one is that I have two monitors up, which I normally don't. So the frame rate's a lot worse here. You live and you learn, I guess. Kind of cool to see through the bottom of the house like that. collider can't be convex. So anything that wants to interact with the terrain needs to have convex, which essentially locks me into everything having a convex shader, basically. That shouldn't be an issue because I plan on doing handmade colliders for everything. I don't know what is up with the torch since I updated to 2018.2. Not the torch, but the lantern. It behaves weirdly. Like, for instance, it's not in my hand right now, when it should be. Maybe I just lost a reference from the update. Like, this all looks fine. Looks weird at a distance. Let's see if there's a distance blend built into this shader, because that's something that I've been wanting to implement for a while. So this tessellation distance. Tessellation is kind of useless, I guess, because I'm not actually using a height map in. Oh, that's interesting. You can do height maps, individual height maps for each layer. Yeah, I'm not using. It doesn't seem like there's any distance blending options. It would be cool to get that working with this. Because it's basically a technique that I saw a while ago that I really liked. That what it does is that when you're up close like this, it'll show you these tiling textures. You can actually, man, that looks real weird in the editor. Crazy. I'll show you these tiling textures so that it looks like it's more detailed than it actually is. It's just small texture space for speeding. But then once you get to a certain distance, so like say where you see right here, kind of starts to get kind of blurred together and it's kind of just orange. What you do is instead of having it orange, where if it was better lit, directional light, yeah. That ain't the one I'm looking for. It's facing the wrong way. Oh lord. Yeah. So when you actually have lighting on it, you can see the repeating textures a lot more far away, and up close it's like barely noticeable at all. Kind of just looks like some weird patterns in the sand, right? But what you do is you distance blend, so at a certain distance you put a new texture in there. So rather than having this sort of tiled, like really granular version of this, you make like a macro version of this. So it would basically look like it did before when I tiled these down. I'll resync layer 2. Get a better view of it. Layer 2. There we go. So it kind of looked like this. But if you look over here, this looks a lot more natural. Even though it's, you know, not correct at all. This is way too big. But it looks a lot more natural to kind of have this because it's harder to tell the variation. So you kind of blend between those two things. It's going to be weird to do that in Unity, especially with their a whole new pipeline. But they have, actually, you know what, I guess now they have shader graph support. That would be something I mess with offline. Because I do know how to make shaders. I've made some shaders from scratch. But I made a ton more with whatever, what's it called? Shader Forge. I made a ton more with Shader Forge than I have with actually just typing it out. Where would the shader graph be? Maybe it's not quite ready yet. I heard that it was supposed to be in this version. But maybe not. Even in rendering, huh? I feel like they've kind of broken it up. Maybe it's something you have to get on the store. That might be the case. Let's scale this back down. 250. So this is sand, so this will be what I actually have like on the beaches, which you're barely going to see. The coloration isn't quite right because it's, well, maybe it is actually. For Australia, maybe their beaches are orange. I know that in all the photo material, that's the case. They just use a lot of HDR stuff to do that. Organizers. Nice. I need dirt, grass. I need some kind of additional variation that I might just use for. You know, I had that weird dirt texture. Let's look for another dirt. I have two different. Is it grass dirt? Is that kind of what I'm looking for? Let's see what grass dirt looks like up close. Yeah, that's a good one. Sort of like patchy grass. That'll be good for like on walkways and stuff. Putting that towards the edges looks more natural than just plain dirt. Got a little bit of grass growing, then we'll have some grass areas, and then far away you have sand. Pretty good. Good start. Don't need any smoothness. Normal map. Dirt, grass, normal. Huh. Don't have a normal for that one. That'll do fine. Just put a dirt normal on it. It'll look a little weird, but it'll be fine for now. Okay, so now let's get a little bit more granular with our splat map, I guess. So I should get a sticky note up, right? Are they gonna go over? Yeah, they're gonna get covered up. All right, so on my other monitor, I'll get a sticky note up. Cool. Let's figure out what each of the colors were. So base was grass, dirt. That should be red, huh? And then black. Sand. So it makes a little bit more sense to me. For the base to be dirt, then we'll go sand, and then grass, dirt, and then grass on top. I'm gonna rearrange the layers that way, and we'll change the names. Back. So grass should be on the top layer, so that's layer 3. That would be the last one that's being rendered on top of everything. And it would go dirt, so plain dirt as the base. Sand on top of dirt. Then grass on top of it. That means that basically everything just got rearranged. So this would be layer 1, call it B for now. It's layer 1. Called layer 3. And sand stayed layer 2? Oh, sand was on top of dirt. You should be layer 1. Resync all those. Cool. Alright, so I got my cheat sheet to my left. And so if the base is dirt, so everything already is covered in black. Alright, perfect. Black's behind everything. And then next I should be worrying about sand. So that's the red. Enough, this is my red layer. Just make new layers for everything, because the one's useless. So red goes on top of the base layer. Oh wait, I have recent ones. There we go. I think my green was off a little bit. Yeah. There we go. And blue, were you off as well? What is happening? It's rearranging them. Blue is fine. Red is fine. One of these two greens is correct. Is it this one? That is not the one. Alright, so I want the other green. Other red. The blue. Crap, I did this wrong. Alright, so that's the right green right there. Alright, so select that green again. Double check. Yeah, this is the correct one. So red. That's the sand. It might be useful as having this as a reference. Well. So I guess just select it and copy it. That. Oh, it went to my red layer. Not cool. That's what it looks like. I'll keep it in the center for now. Why not? I can see it easily. That means that red should be here. Definitely gonna need to back now. Sand would go there, more or less. Maybe we should have the sand overlap a little bit more than this, because this is actually where we were saying the water's gonna go. So it should go a little further than that, I guess. This brush is too big, so let's do it with a smaller brush and zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. Probably gonna look a lot nicer. That's right, we were gonna say we come in a little bit more inland. I don't know if I'm gonna blur this afterwards, but it might make it a little nicer. It doesn't really matter, I forgot. This is all being seen from a distance exclusively. We gotta stop being too tunnel vision about it. So maybe, let's see, so what's actually gonna go? That's red. This layer, I'm trying to think if I should actually spend the time to kind of feather this a little bit and get some more variation in the edging. Not sure how much that's actually going to change. So if I do something like this, go back over to black. You know what actually I just realized? Is that this is the bottom layer, or at least not the bottom layer right above black. Means that whatever I put, this isn't going to be grass, I guess. This would be dirt grass, so that's green. Be green going. We're going to try to block this in really quick. So dirt grass, going to go here by the water a lot, and then it's going to go along the edges of paths and wherever we think the road's going to be. So we're still kind of blocking in, I guess. And you know what, actually, it only really needs to be on paths that are actually near the house. Not going to see anything else. So be too particular about it. So that probably means that more this far away, what's more important than it looking accurate is it kind of looking mixed in with grass. So grass is what we did with blue. So we'll have to blend in some blue once we get to the blue layer. So the grass, this grass path, go there, and you know what? Actually, we can mix some black in there as well. Since this is dirt, grass, so let's have a little bit more black and a little bit of grass. Go up a layer, blue. Probably fill in everything with blue, and then we'll clear things off to them cover them dirt, which is black later. Long. Yeah. So one thing we can do. Let's see if I can remember how to do this right. I'm trying to think if I can use like a gauze, not a Gaussian, some clouds effectively here. Got some clouds. That's right, if I put it in the mask, that's what I should be doing. Is generating some clouds and putting it in the mask. Try putting a mask on this. Copy this. Mask. Alright, how do you... There we go. Can't believe I remember that. Was all muscle memory, man. I don't remember how to... I don't actually, like, actively remember how to switch into that. Switch into mask mode. Alright, so let's see... Go into this thing. That's... So it's alt-click. There we go. Click. And we want to, yeah. So that'll give you dirt and things like that. So it should probably, each one should be its own render. How do you change? What do I feel like I should be getting a prompt for that? I guess maybe the way you change it is supposed to be through these filters. Maybe? Let's say distort place. Sure. Oop. Never mind. Now see what it was actually asking there. Clear that. That's weird. There's got to be a way that you can actually bring up a menu for it. Try liquefy because it sounds awesome. Sure, man. Oh, I liquefy it. Now that's actually really useful for that flow map editor I was working on a while ago. Man, I made a whole in Unity editor and everything. Could just brought some colors into here and blurred them around. Wasted effort right there. See what this looks like. So it's a little weird. Get some green going. Oop. Ah, I see. Right. Go like that. Yeah. Cool. How does it seem? Oh, because this is the top layer. Let's see. Let's get into the mask and we can mess it up ourselves. Get a more random brush. More random huge brush. Want it. Yep, I want white. So in these black areas, if I put some green there, it'll show through. Get rid of this reference now. Probably turn the opacity down on this. You can do more variation. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, and so for green, let's fill that in under this. That. Great, I still have opacity low. Way up. I don't know how this is gonna look, having it kind of that weird, this is like has fall off to it. Oh, that's gonna red. Try this out because I'm doing a few things I don't normally do, so let's see how weird it looks. This part right here, that's for sure not gonna look right, so let's clear that off. What sponge do? Nah, not what I'm looking for. I guess with each of these we can fade it off with black. Good equalizer. Have something that has a really, I guess they all have a pretty ridiculous fall off. Alright, cool. There we go. Feel about this part right here. Get a big old smudge tool. You're not even gonna see this much. I think that as long as this is like good enough, I'm probably gonna stop messing with it. But I think that these really deep pivot pits right here are gonna look weird. But let's see. Basically, just gonna be little dirt splotches, so that might not actually look that bad, especially not from a distance. Wait, what happened to my splat? Coastal splat. You know what I did is I upgraded by directly dragging it into the file browser. Or I updated, not upgraded. So let's delete this. It's gonna be a lot better than the last one, that's for sure. That map. It's a lot of dirt. There's a lot of dirt. It is supposed to be a city, but that might be an excessive amount of dirt. Doesn't show a lot of variation either, which is kind of what I'm looking for more so. Let's see if I spot the areas that I was kind of doing the, okay, like this area. Okay, it looks weird, but not that bad. There's really like a small amount of fall off here. Fine. And even though you can see the swirl if you look at it, like you can see how I kind of just blurred that. Can't really tell from ground level. Let's add a lot more grass, a lot more. Wait, what? So blue is supposed to be grass. Yeah, blue is grass. We need more blue, more green. That means we need to white out some of this in here. Alright. Where's the mask go? The black will remove, so white shows, so I need more white in the. See if I can do that with What do you do? The way you can do an image effect. Right here. Some contrast. It's only going to affect. How do I get it to do that on the mask? I don't know how to get that to just affect the mask. Brightness weight. So this is working. Go back to this. There's a lot more of the dirt. So yeah, we want kind of equal measure blue and green up here. So probably more so than dirt. So let's just fill it all in with green. There, still getting a little bit of dirt going. Yeah. And for blue, that's a much fewer dirt patches. And now that I think about it, in the sand area, definitely want it to be mostly. So let's do this. Increase the brightness. And then also we probably want to get rid of some, manually get rid of some of this stuff. All those like really dark areas really don't need to be there. Cool. Yeah, so you got a little bit of dirt there and a little bit of dirt there. Now it looks like a total mess here, but let's see what it looks like on export. Or in the actual terrain. Trippy. Why does this still seem to favor dirt so much? Dirt is the base layer. So it's anywhere dark. I gotcha. So it's not so much that I'm getting dirt, it's just that I'm getting a higher value of dirt. That probably means that even in the areas where I'm using the masks, this one we probably want to drop the high end so it doesn't actually get that dark. That means like levels, right? So if I move this down, there we go. Yep. Here. Although, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, looking at levels like that, with that, let's just drop it a lot more. I think that'll make it look a lot better. Already pretty white centric there. Definitely do it for this one, probably a little bit more aggressive on this one, just so you get like a tiny bit of dirt. Oops. Adjustments. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Can't look at the balance? Oh, levels, right there. Okay. There we go. A lot more subtle. You don't get as much green in here, which probably means that I should just manually put some green in on this channel as well. God, it's so it's so weird. Hands out way too much. So we'll drop the opacity a lot, increase the size a lot. This is what green is dirt grass. All right. That up more here on the hill. Kind of like leading up the hill. And blue is actual grass, so we should probably make sure we also go back to having a really grassy hill. Like it's not doing because of the mask, maybe. That mask. Make sure it's solid white up. Opacity up. There we go. A lot more nuanced. Should favor dirt a lot less, but still kind of have dirt being mixed in. Seems very dirt favored. Okay, you can see a lot more grass this way. Another element to this is that it's kind of just as a base, and then I'm layering some more meshes on top of it, so things like cobble streets, little tufts of grass, that sort of thing. So I think this is fine. I'll stop messing with it. You got the hill behind you. Does what it's supposed to do, kind of block vision a little bit. Downward hill in front of you. And honestly, I think that this need a more steep hill right near the house, I think. Let's see, where's... Yeah, there we go, okay. So there is a hill there. Yeah, alright, so that's probably fine. It's like a couple meters in height. It's just got some good fade or fall off here. Let's get home. You know, now that I think about it, it ain't gonna move everything, is it? Alright, that moves everything. Awesome. Get rid of the grid here. Stop showing the... There we go. Messing with my depth perception of this hill for sure. We gotta find a good part on this hill to place it. Get a good vision of the... Actually, this is probably a good spot because you kind of have this bump here. Gonna move it over slightly. Might have broke a lot of stuff, but find out. Player's definitely not in the right spot. Wall. Yep. You know what, actually, if this breaks a lot of stuff, it'd probably be easier to rotate the terrain at this point. Rotate all the stuff in the house, but let's see what broke. Lantern's in here. More of an inconvenience than something being broken, since the lantern is currently broken as well. Here's the lantern. Got it. The center lantern did not do anything. Doing something weird, lantern? Like slowly fading away. Look at it go. Weird. soda. Door open. Slides. Slides. Pull this out of there, fine. Like not a lot of stuff broke. I guess we leave it like this. Alright, some loose things did, however, get misplaced. Yeah, okay. So rather than move all those little small objects that you pick up that I think just aren't hierarchied to this because they kind of shouldn't be, I am just gonna go ahead and rotate the terrain. Keep these cardinal direction, or keep the house on cardinal directions. It makes it a lot easier to debug things like physics anyway. Since there's a lot of physics interaction going on. So if I tilted that one to the left, which means this, right? I think I moved it slightly. Let's move it. Let's see if it kind of... Right. Yeah, that's totally fine. So we're just going to have the street come by here, go down there, leading to you having a much better vision of the boats to the right here. So since it's going to go down there, there's going to be no buildings blocking your vision here. Look like a lighthouse or something off to the right here. It's pretty good. Move the boat over here to kind of signify where we're going to be placing dock. So I will say this, the terrain editor not working in Unity, not so bad, considering my terrain is not, strictly speaking, is not interactive. Like, you're not really supposed to walk around on it. You're still going to be able to, but it's kind of a fail state to leave the house. So not really that big a deal for me. Kind of fun seeing how these things worked. Seeing how this new shader the system they have here works. But definitely would be a huge pain if I actually wanted interactivity. Why am I not in the right spot? I didn't finish moving it back correctly. Alright, so let's undo all that. There we go. What am I looking for? I'm looking for things like the shells here. Yeah, the shells are in the right spot. Okay. Yeah, rotate it that way. Cool. Get back. That'll be where the docks are. I don't think there's even like a... I don't think there's even a water shader you can use in 2018 right now. It's sort of built in just for like placeholder while I'm blocking things out. So the last thing I'm going to do is kind of set up where I think the building placement's going to be, which is going to be really easy. So I think I found this. Where is it? It's somewhere on the town. This thing right here. So this is very, very old. A couple years old at least. When I was still just trying out some stuff. Trying out some environment modeling, trying out some building modeling, figuring out like what kind of 3D spaces felt right for something that's a little bit more than just like you press a button and you go into a new scene and everything's kind of perfectly laid out within that scene and you can kind of mess with scale as much as you want because you're kind of loading into a separate area. But I wanted something that was kind of like a smooth transition. So going from outside and an outdoor environment, walk straight up into an indoor environment, and figuring out like what scales feel right like that. Like specifically, for instance, these buildings are way too small. This building looks huge, but feels barely correct when you're inside of it. Like this looks like a, to the player, because you don't have very good spatial awareness, this It actually looks like a normal sized room, when in actuality it's like kind of huge. Like this would be like if you took a two-story house, like a normal two-story house, and just removed all the walls. Out that it'd feel about that big in real life, but it feels smaller. So here are just some of the like the test buildings. So I'm gonna use those to block things out. Just because they're here, basically. So I'm actually gonna use these old assets. But there used to be a big church, but I removed that because I didn't actually model that. Figured I should remove it rather than really forget. Alright, unchecked that and nothing happened, so I'm gonna say I can delete that. Windmill, I think same deal. Didn't model it, so I got rid of it. Okay, now I'm just confused. I see. Didn't turn this one off. Okay. Coming off. And you have windmill down interior, so. House basic, same deal. Maybe also an old asset. Alright, so we have our... Wait, where is... Thank God unchecked. Ah, because I hit the wrong thing. Alright. Cool. This... Furniture, getting rid of that. What gunny is, getting rid of that. Alright, so these are going to represent like our shop buildings. They're all based on... all. These three right here, like the only three buildings we have, are based on images from a town in Australia that's sort of like a colonial town, like a colonial recreation of a gold mine town, which is what the town that this little test layout was supposed to be for. They're all based on buildings that are in that town. You can see in photos. You can actually explore it on Google Maps as well. I think it's called Sovereign Hill. Pretty cool name, to be honest. Just you can go look around it on like Street View in Google. So we're gonna have houses behind you. And really annoying, it doesn't grab the root. I guess there would be the back of houses behind you. So at the back there'd be like a small... What is going on with that? Can't really look out the side, but you can a little bit. I probably want to block you off of the building there as well. It adds the claustrophobia and also makes it so I don't have to model this whole part of the town here. Add variations. Things seem like they aren't copies. And the only reason why I'm doing this is just so I can have spatial awareness of the stuff that I'm going to add later. Definitely going to be, like I said, some variations on this building, but I'll have to add some other stuff as well. Alright, so if you're from here, you're looking down the first floor. Yeah, that seems about right. So you want to see the dock there, so that means these need to be moved back. That way. Back of a house. A lot closer. So if the... You know, it makes more sense actually that the cobble street kind of comes on this more flat area here, so let's a little bit. There we go. Now it's more flat here. will be where the street goes, which means that right here on this hill is kind of where the street's going to curve. Right at the base of it, we want building. Road goes through there. You have a little hill there. You have a building down there. Great. Oops. And to be honest with you, with 3 buildings, I could probably sell this place. Maybe 4. Have like 2 house variations. And then 2 sort of shop industrial looking variations. Probably very hard to tell because you can do texture variation, color variation, and it's just stuff you see looking out your window. You can also scale things as well, which I didn't actually think of until just now. Totally possible to just scale buildings up and down in the distance just to make them look slightly more different. And we're kind of going to have like a, call them hero pieces or hero assets. We're going to have one of those off to the right, which is the lighthouse. So if you're looking over here, you're going to see like the dock, the lighthouse over there on the hill. It's going to make it seem more reasonable for there not to be too many buildings that way. It's sort of just supposed to be, peninsula, out of the way, rocky, uneven land, that sort of thing over there. And then to your left would be where you are meant to assume there's more buildings. So like we're going to see more in the peripherals on the way coming down here towards the docks. There's going to be more buildings off this way. Feel more natural that way. Take all these. Have them off on this side. Maybe don't want this many. Yeah. So this one would be kind of like at the corner here. So if the road's bending, corner, sort of weirdly spaced between what you'd actually expect. Have this degree of distance, 2 buildings. You're looking from it from like right down here. You can't even actually see those buildings now I think about it. So let's move them over. This one as well. Move that one kind of facing this way towards the road. Up on. Actually with the hill there, it doesn't really make sense for it to be facing that way. So we'll just have another building variation off this way. Here. Move it over just so maybe it's in the peripherals in some angles. Alright, so let's try it in the editor. Okay. So filling in the left side, so if you're running out, we need some way to cover that actually, to actually just block that viewpoint. We'll just need a building, a few buildings there, I guess. And then off to the right, same thing. Although I guess, yeah, let's see. So you see the lighthouse there. You see that building there. So there should be another one between you and that one. Seems. So yeah, I did say the spacing looked a little awkward, so that means that right. Oh, clicking on this. Yeah. There. Cool. Alright, so now if you pop out, you'll see a building right there. That seems like weirdly close though, too, to be honest. Maybe putting something. Nah, that's not really gonna work. I don't want like a shop there. It's so annoying that turning off clicking on canvases doesn't actually work. Although, to be honest, yeah. So keep. Right, so if I'm over here and I try to click on it. Okay, now it's working. Alright, cool. Yeah, alright. Not working. Now it's selecting the canvas. That's the gizmo. I thought there was a way you could get it to not let you select them on here. Huh. Okay, smaller house there. We need something to fill in the peripherals here, so let's just do a ton of these. And we'll just kind of have it. We'll assume that the road kind of bends there. Maybe there's like a gap. So there'd be like a gap, so the road splits. We have a little fork in the road. Oh my god, the selection thing is annoying me so much. The road will go there, that way. And we'll kind of have these things blocking that. Yeah. And there you can still see a direct line here, so we'll block that as well. Here we go. That should block these. This view is mostly blocked. You have the lighthouse over there. See the docks this way, and you can't really see this way because of these. And then you should get caught before you get too far out. We'll try it one more time. A very crafty player wants to immediately get out. Not even grab. New stairs. That's another thing that was on my list. Need to make new stairs for that. Alright, so look that way. See stuff that way. That's fine. That small crevice. It's going to be darker than this. You're not going to see the yellow. That makes that look lit. It's going to be kind of, not really pitch black, but a lot darker than that. Right here, that way you see the lighthouse. This way you see the docks. How far over do I need to move this to get it in the right visual? Oops. How far up is this? Yeah, so that's like right about at the coastal line here. But weirdly enough, I thought you'd have better vision on the coast there. Maybe it's because of the fog. I don't really have good vision at all. Maybe this needs to be more gradual. Although that does kind of feel right if the water's kind of coming up here. Just be that the lack of sand up here makes it appear less like a transition. Yeah. For wasting the polygons on this ship, I want it to be seen, damn it. I think there's a lot of polygons on it. Like, because of how I'm using it, a lot of this stuff could just be planes. Need to have this much detail. Alright, so I need probably the top thing on my... So, tomorrow I'm going to do the stairway. And I'll count that as being worthwhile for making a build. What's going on here? This isn't right. These are supposed to be in the drawer, if I'm not mistaken. Everything got lowered? Did I lower the house? I may have lowered the house, okay. This is a lot more palatable of an edit than going through all of them and moving them to like a different location for the house. Moving them down a little bit is a lot. Last time I can move the house as well. I got an empty shell here. These shells I think were non-canon when I did the narrative thing. When I walked through, last time I walked through all my narrative planning. I think that these shells here didn't really fit, so I said you came in, you're shaken, she came in here with an improvised weapon, places it on the couch, starts a fire, eventually decides to come in here and drink, never actually loads the gun, so there's still a shot from when they last used the gun, taking it out of that cabinet. So these shells shouldn't really be here. I can maybe... it's so conspicuous. I'm gonna say maybe they were there from the last time they used the gun as well. It's an interesting idea. I'll just have one off in the kitchen, but I was thinking like, you know, it'd be something where they would just say, oh, here's more evidence that like I used the gun or whatever, but I think that I've decided that we'll never have used the gun. Put one spent shell over here. Cabinet as well. So tomorrow I'm going to add a new stairwell for sure. We're going to take a long time because stairs are annoying to work with. I'll add that. And what else do I need? Stop using caps lock. Brain folder for it. Awesome. Save this. I already did. Or I already gave it a name. And I have the... I should save this as well. In case. I can mark one thing off my list. Where's my list? Here it is. Add a test terrain. Done. It's actually totally functional for production because it's so simple. Make new stairs. Fix UI for books. So there were some things I didn't fix from the UI change. I can do that right now. So let's go to my UI. These ones still work. That's good. Oh, they're each separate things. So carry and put down these two. Alright, I didn't realize that they weren't under a hierarchy at all. Weird. So they were. Copy, not remove. And okay, so put down the item, zoom in, carry item. There we go. I can scratch that off as well. One minor UI thing I noticed I missed. Alright, so yeah, tomorrow, new build, post on itch. For now, we got our new terrain working. Totally functional, which is exactly what you want when you're using experimental rendering stuff on an experimental branch of them. Even though it's an official release, absolutely experimental. And that really favors the dirt, huh? Something with that shader. Maybe I'm not totally getting how it works. It seems like it should be mostly grass up there for sure. I kind of guaranteed it. But yep, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone.